Welcome back, everyone. It's lunchtime. I'm going to show you how to make a Manhattan open roast beef sandwich, one of my husband's favorites. Now, it's true to form that you use regular white bread or some wheat bread. We're toasting ours today. Y'all come along and let's really quickly put this one together. Now we're back here on my stove and I've got 3 pans. Now, don't let that scare you off. All we're doing is heating things through, so it won't take very long to be back here before we're building a sandwich. Let's start with the first pan, then we'll move on to the second and the third and build it all together. And it's going to be quick. In our first skillet, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of beef broth. Now we're making this very semi-homemade, which means just about everything is already kind of pre-made. We're just going to heat it up. We're not going to put any work into this at all. I'm going to put this on a medium-high heat, right there. I picked up some roast beef. Now we just had the deli cut this for us, and we're going to add this to our pan. Now, probably about 1/2 pound. You want a few slices or whatever you like for a sandwich, and just times that by how many sandwiches you're making. I got 4 people today, so I'm just going to heat up plenty of it. Oh, it smells so good. We're going to let this heat through. I think that's good right there. Well, we'll go for right there. All right, we're going to let that heat through while we start our next pot. Now, you don't have to use deli meat. You can take a roast, cook it in your crock pot, and use that and just slice it really thin for this sandwich, or use leftover roast. You can even use leftover turkey breast if you cook that in your crock pot, or get deli meat turkey, because that's called a hot shot, which is very similar to a Manhattan. It's just you're using turkey instead of roast beef. In our next pot, we're going to make some mashed potatoes. Now, I'm using these Bob Evans original mashed potatoes. You just find these in your refrigerated section of your store, pretty much where your processed foods are, like your rotisserie chickens, your potato salads, coleslaws, and stuff like that. That's where we find ours. We're going to heat enough up of this in order to be able to scoop onto our sandwiches. So when I cook these, I'm just going to add a few ingredients to kind of give them some more flavor. Now, you can heat these up just like they are, but we like to add a little bit of butter, a little bit of salt and pepper. We find that we like that. I think I'm going to heat this whole thing up. Now, if I have leftover mashed potatoes, I'm just going to make, mashed potato balls with them. Oh yeah, those are good. All right, when your roast beef is heated through, you can put it on low, or you can just turn it off and let it sit in the hot broth there. That broth is going to give it some extra flavor too. All right, now I'm not going to give my mashed potatoes any milk because that seems to be fine for us. We eat Bob Evans mashed potatoes a lot just for a quick side. We do know that we like it with extra butter. Gives it a nice creaminess. All right, we're going to go in with some salt, because we do know we need to add a little bit of salt to it, probably about a 1/4 teaspoon. Definitely some black pepper. And then we'll just heat these through. That looks good, maybe a little bit more. There we go. We'll turn that on to medium and keep an eye on that while we're stirring it around. And then we got one more thing to make in our back pan back here. All right, we're going to be using 2 packets of brown gravy mix. Now this is the dry, and these are 0.87 ounces each. I'm going to cook both of these up because I know my family mashed potatoes and gravy. Now I also have a recipe for brown gravy mix. This comes out a little lighter than what I want for my brown gravy to go over my mashed potatoes and toast that you're going to get from this package here. So, but I do have a recipe for this. You can find it on catherinesplates.com. You can limit your salt in it and, change the flavors that you want. So there you go. All right, so I switched my pots so I can be closer to my gravy pot here. I got it over a high heat. I'm going to add both packages of brown gravy mix. And it says 1 cup of water per gravy mix. Now I'm doing 1.5 cups of water total with 1/2 cup of beef broth. Really give it some flavor. We're going to go ahead and add that. I'm going to add a little bit at a time while I take a fork. Well, I'm just going to take a whisk that has the silicone on there so I don't mess my pots up. And then we'll just blend the gravy into the broth and the water. And just keep adding it. There we go. We're going to bring this to a boil. We're going to keep an eye on our mashed potatoes. We're just heating them through. Everything is heated through. This will take just 1 minute to thicken up. And I'm just going to whisk it a little bit. Get any lumps out. All right, we've got our roast beef, we've got our mashed potatoes, we've got our gravy, and then we're going to put all that on toast. Now, an original Manhattan generally comes on white bread that's not toasted, but my husband and I, we like it toasted. Let's build a sandwich. All right, so on top of our toast, we're going to place our roast beef. And just layer it on there. My husband's like, more. Of course. It's all what it's about. On top of the roast beef, we're going to add a mound of mashed potatoes. We're going to take that delicious gravy. You're going to pour it over it. Y'all put the gravy on. Get that part. That's good. All right, I got some fresh parsley. We've got to give it a pop of color. We don't want it to look bland. And there, you guys, we have a Manhattan roast beef open sandwich. Let's eat. Going in for a bite with everything, right? That's how you want it. That's good. I've heard somebody used garlic bread. They toasted it in the oven and they put this on there. I bet that's delicious. Buttery, garlicky bread. Yeah. Toast your bread for this one, you guys. It's dinner time, and I'm going to show you how to make a very easy, delicious Tavern loose meat sandwich. And when I say delicious, check out these flavors as we go along. The loose meat, I've got 2 pounds of ground beef in a large skillet. We're just going to put this over medium-high heat and start browning this up. So I'm going to break up the ground beef, which is 2 pounds worth. Just using my handy-dandy meat chopper. We're going to brown this up over medium-high heat till it's no longer pink. Now while it's browning up, we're going to add some flavor to this. We're going to start off with a yellow onion that I'm going to dice up, a green bell pepper that we're going to dice. Now I want some color in this sandwich, so I've got some sweet baby peppers that I'm just going to dice up. So with the onion, I'm just going to slice it very thin. And then I'm just going to turn it around sideways. And cut through that. We want to be able to see the onions in our dish. And while you're chopping your vegetables, just keep breaking up your ground beef. All right, bell pepper. I'll be slicing the whole thing. And then just dice it. Now when I say loose meat, okay, we're not making sloppy joes. Nah, it's tavern style, kind of like a bar sandwich. And it's not going to be so loose that it falls out of your sandwich, because we've got some stuff that's going to go in and kind of hold it all together for you. And then wait and see what I'm going to be using as the bread. Now with the sweet peppers, kind of quarter them lengthwise. And then just chop them. All right, these colors look beautiful, don't they? All right, I think that's what we're gonna do right there. Okay, the meat is all browned up. What I'm gonna do is just kind of push it off to the side. I like to take some paper towels and just put it down in there. Let it absorb any of the excess grease. It's just a fast way to do it, so you're not using a lot of dishes. Let's go ahead and add those delicious colors right here. Okay, what I'm going to do is stir this all up. I'm just going to cook this down for a few minutes until the onions are nice and soft and the peppers start softening down also. In the meantime, I'm going to flavor this with some salt and pepper. Oh, I opened the right one this time. About a quarter of a teaspoon of salt. And the same with the pepper, quarter of a teaspoon. Give that a mix. All right, let's get these onions and peppers nice and softened down. Okay, now what we're gonna do is add 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. Flavor, flavor, flavor. This is a half a tablespoon, so I'm gonna go in twice. And a little overflow. Give that a mix for about 30 seconds. Ooh, doesn't that look colorful in there? All right, let's add some more flavor. I've got 2 cans of soup here. One is a cream of celery, or you can use cream of mushroom, whichever one you want. And then I have a cheddar cheese soup. Yeah, that's the Tavern flavor right there, cheese. All right, I'm gonna add both of these cans to the meat mixture here, and then also I'm gonna give a little sprinkling of some Worcestershire, probably about 1 to 2 teaspoons, whatever you like. Now these are 10-ounce cans. I'm gonna stir this up. Ooh, that's looking good. It's smelling good. All right, let's give this a taste and we're gonna turn off the burner. Oh, wow. You know what I'm ready to do? Put some tater tots in the oven to go with this. All right, let's build the sandwich. I have a sheet pan. I've lined it with some parchment paper, and I got a nice serrated edge knife. It's a bread knife. Got a big loaf of French bread. So what I'm gonna do is slice this lengthwise. All right, just keep an eye on it and go slow. Make sure you divide this equally down the center of the loaf. Okay, now let me show you what we're gonna do. We need to take that inside out. Just take a fork and just kind of scrape along the inside of the bread like this. And then you're gonna take the pieces of the bread and just kind of break it up And then you're going to put it into the meat mixture. Now you don't want to put it all in there. I'm just going to put whatever in the half of the loaf. You can save the other pieces for, you can dry it out and make breadcrumbs with it and freeze it.
Croutons.
Make croutons with it, yep. The bread will help absorb the liquid and make it more apt to stay together. And then just
Act like a glue.
yeah. So as much bread that you want in there. Just be careful when you do this so you don't break your bread, because it's like a little boat and it holds everything in it. So just be gentle. All right, we're going to bring the pan back over that we've lined with some parchment paper. We're going to put the bottom on and then place the top on there right there. And what we want to do is add the mixture into the bottom portion of the bread. Kind of load it up. I'm going to sprinkle some shredded cheddar cheese over the top. Okay, you're going to take the top, flip it over, and put it on top. There we go. All right, this is going to go in the oven that's preheated at 350 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes, just long enough to get that cheese on the inside nice and melted and everything heated through. Now, y'all are like, okay, what about the rest of it? Well, we have another loaf of bread that we're going to do tomorrow to finish this off here. So that's why I doubled up on the recipe. Okay, I just pulled this out of the oven. Now, before you grab a knife and start sawing away and making sandwiches out of this, you got to let it rest for 5 minutes or so. That way, everything kind of pulls itself together, and when you make the cuts, it doesn't all fall out. So, 5 minutes. There we go. Just kidding, that's not 2 sandwiches. We're going to cut this in half again. Here goes my bite. Mmm. That's delicious. That's a loose meat sandwich right there. Grab a fork after this one and finish it up on your plate. It's lunchtime. I'm going to show you how to make French dip biscuit sandwiches with only 5 ingredients. We're going to start off with the can of biscuits. Now I'm using the Flaky Layers biscuits. That way they pull apart easily. We're going to pull them out of the can. All right, 1, 2, 3. To show you what we're going to do with these, we're going to start with 4 first. Now what we're going to do is split them in half. Just find the middle of the layers. Go around. There we go. Like that. We're going to set them on our board for a minute. We're going to do 4 at a time. Just find a starting point and then just go around, keep pulling. There we go. And we'll do this one here. We're going to put a little bit of horseradish sauce on the bottom of each of the rolls here. Now, you don't have to use this at all to do this, okay? We like it. It adds a little flavor to it. So since I have 8 of them here, I'm going to do it on 4 because we're just going to put them on the bottoms. Just a little dollop. Don't overdo it. And just remember, you don't have to do this step if you don't want to. Now I'm going to take a knife. I'm just going to spread it. There we go. This is an easy lunch idea. Oh, for the kids, for your family, for you. All right, now we got all 4 of those. We're going to use some deli roast beef. whichever type you like. We're going to open this up. This one has an easy opening. We're going to take some roast beef out, and we're going to place it on top of the bottom biscuit there. I always say load it up. That looks really good, doesn't it? All right, I'm just going to kind of fold it. It smells delicious. I'm just going to squeeze it down, just like that. I don't know, that was calling my name right there. That's delicious. I'm going to be using some provolone cheese to put on top of the roast beef. All right, I'm going to fold these in half and into quarters. And we'll put 2 of the quarters on each one, so that's half a piece. There we go. I'm going to take the top of the biscuit, just lay it on top. We're not squeezing these together, okay? We're just putting these on top. These are biscuit sandwiches. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. And I'm going to get the other ones out. Let's build those. Now, we still have a dipping sauce that we're going to make for these. Gotta have that. Gotta have a dipping sauce. Just pull them all the way around, turn them, turn them. You have 2 ends there, and we got 1 more in there. Some horseradish on 4 of them. 1, 2, 3. Oop, does not want to come out. There we go, 4. Spread it out. We're only doing the bottom. All right, roast beef. I'm on my own with this one, or my husband would be in here eating the roast beef. Let's put some cheese. There we go. Let's put the biscuit tops on them. All right, we're going to be using a large sheet pan that I've put a piece of parchment on, and we're going to take the biscuit, the whole thing, and place it on our sheet pan. Oh, it's so good to have some lunch ideas, easy meal planning. You can put them close together. And we'll put one right here. I've got my oven preheated at 400 degrees. We're going to place these in there, bake them for about 12 minutes or so till they're nice and golden brown and the biscuits are cooked through. Let me show you how we're going to make the au jus sauce to dip these French dips into. While that's in the oven, we're going to make some au jus gravy. We're going to start with 1 pack of au jus gravy, and we're going to make it per the instructions on the back of the package. We're going to empty this into a medium skillet. And it says add 3 cups of water. All right, let's whisk that in. We're going to turn the burner on, add another cup of water. That will be our 3 cups. We're going to allow this come to a boil. We're going to stir this for 5 minutes. Medium-high heat. Now, if you want a thicker au jus gravy, you can add a little bit of cornstarch slurry to it, a couple of teaspoons, some water, and add that to it for a thicker gravy. All right, we're just going to turn the burner off now. All right, look at these. Don't they look delicious? Nice and golden brown on the bottom and on the top. That cheese has melted. All right, let's serve these up with that au jus gravy. All right, you can serve them on a plate with a side of the au jus sauce. Now, what I like to do is take a spoon of the sauce, open it up, Gotta pour it in. Oh yeah, just like that. So it's already in there. Here's my bite. Mmm. 5 easy ingredients to make this delicious French dip biscuit sandwich. It's very delicious. Wow, nice and savory. Make yours at home. Don't go out and buy a French dip. Let's make chopped Italian sub sliders. What a delicious way to make an appetizer, lunch, or heck, have these for dinner. Now let's talk about our slider buns. I am using sliders. These are Pepperidge Farm. I like these because they're already split in half. But if you like the King's Hawaiian rolls, you can use those also. Just make sure you take a large serrated knife, cut through them lengthwise, and then put them in your dish. Let me show you what these look like here. So they come like this. They're kind of round, they're separated, and they're already split for you. You can find these in your bread aisle. Let's go ahead and spray our 9x13 baking dish with some nonstick cooking spray very lightly. We're going to place the bottoms in our dish and kind of put them very close together. And we're going to save the tops for later. We're going to take some mayonnaise and we're just going to cover the rolls on the bottom, slather it on there. This will give it some nice flavor. Now there's still football going on, so this is a perfect appetizer for your football games. Make it for lunch. This will be a really good one for lunch too. Everybody can get 3 if you have 4 people eating this. All right. We're going to place this in the oven. I've got it preheated at 400 degrees. It should take about 7 to 10 minutes just to get these nice and golden brown. In the meantime, we're going to put these away and we're going to bring over some of our meats that we're going to use for our chopped sandwich. Now I've got some honey ham, and then I've got like a charcuterie trio. I found it in our grocery store where you find the salamis at and the Italian meats. I have an Italian dry salami, pepperoni, and then another salami which is calabrese. So we're just going to take it, place it on a cutting board, and then chop it up. Now while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and heat up a skillet on medium-high heat. Let that heat up for just a second while we chop up our meats in bite-sized pieces. And then as we get it chopped up, we'll go ahead and add it to our skillet. Kind of want to warm it through, give it a little bit of browning to it, get it kind of crispy. Who doesn't like that? Now we're not going to add any oil or butter to our skillet because there's enough kind of fat in the salami. And I've already tried a piece and it's good. My husband's trying a piece right now. What do you got? The pepperoni? Yeah, that's the pepperoni. All right, let's add that to our skillet.
That's good.
Ooh, y'all.
Man, that's
that good. Oh, you hear that sizzle? Try not to eat it all because it smells delicious.
It tastes good too.
All right, we're going to cook this just for a few minutes until it's heated through and has a nice little golden crust to the meats. It's heated through. We got some crispy bits on our ham and salami and the pepperoni. We're going to go ahead and turn off the heat. That was it. Let's bring our dish back over that has our toasted bottoms of our subs. All right, there's our toasted bottom of the rolls. We're going to take some provolone cheese. And we're just going to put a piece on each one. We may double up if we have enough. I had a mouse in the kitchen. Not a real mouse. I think my son, he loves cheese. Y'all know that. I'm going to use the rest of this. This is about 6 ounces of sliced, thinly sliced provolone cheese. So we'll take the rest of the pieces here. Ah, my cameraman Thomas, that's my husband. Y'all don't know him. Very helpful. We're going to take our meats that we browned up. We're going to place it on top of the cheese. It's hard to save some. That honey ham, oh my goodness, adds a little sweetness. There we go. All right, we're bringing the tops of the rolls back over. We're going to place them on top. We're going to coat the tops of our buns. Now what I have is half a stick of butter. We're going to add in some Italian seasoning, 1 tablespoon. Just going to mix that together using my pastry brush, and then we're going to coat the tops of the buns. When I say I'm not kidding, I'm not kidding. We still have the middle to put inside of these. Stay with me. That looks good right there. Yum, right? We're going to place this back in our oven. It's still heated at the 400 degrees. We're going to bake these for another 5 to 7 minutes to get that cheese nice and melted and everything heated through. Now, while that's in the oven, we got some chopping to do. Now, I've already got about 6 to 7 ounces of shredded iceberg lettuce. Got about 1/4 cup of red onion, diced very small. Now, I've got some dill pickles here. We're going to cut these up. Now these are banana peppers. I'll show you the jar. These are mild. You don't have to put these in if you don't want to. They just add a little extra flavor and some heat. Not too much though. I didn't have to chop up too much for you, did I? We're going to mix this all together. I'm going to add half a cup of mayonnaise right to the center of it. Now I'm using a deli dressing. It has oil and vinegar in it and Italian seasoning. About 3 tablespoons total. I'm just going to blend this all together. All right, this is a good way to not use a bowl, right? Just use your cutting board. Thomas is going to go in and give that a try and see if we need to add anything else. Maybe some black pepper, some salt.
Salt and pepper.
I'm going in with my pepper. Just crack some on there, and we'll add some salt. We're going to mix this up. All right, that cheese is nice and melted inside there. The buns are nice and toasty. Let's fill these up. We're going to take the tops off so that we can put that in the middle. Okay. Now we're going to evenly spread out our mixture here all over the top of the meat on our sliders. Does that look good? Woo. We're going to put our toasty tops back on. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. There we go. I'm going to pull one out of here and give it a try for you. Ooh, what do y'all think? A fun, delicious appetizer using sliders. Let me give this a try for you. Wow, that's delicious. Give me a thumbs up. Make sure you like my video. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below and that bell notification. That way you'll always know when shows like this one here are posted. Wow. I'll see y'all on the next episode.